JSE, let's connect.
As mentioned earlier, the JSE has recently released a market notice to the agricultural industry where they announced certain amendments to the existing agricultural contract specifications. To talk to us about this, we would like to welcome Dr. Raphael Karuaihe. He's Head of Commodities at the JSE. Doctor, welcome to Plaas TV for the first time.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us.
Great pleasure.
First, briefly explain to us what are agricultural contract specifications and what led to these amendments?
Yeah, these are really just standardized terms and conditions that are applicable to all market participants who are taking positions on futures contracts on the exchange. And really the aim is to ensure market efficiency and fairness for the whole market environment, really. In this case, what happened is, if you look at the physical grains that we trade on the exchange, most of the futures contracts on grain are actually deliverable, physically deliverable. In other words, if you have a position that you have taken on the exchange, say for white maize, you may then opt to receive the actual milli at the expiration of those instruments. Then what happened is that during the last marketing season that ended for maize, that ended in April this year, we really had very tight stock levels in the country. And so we found a situation where some position holders who had positions on the exchange actually found it difficult to have access to the physical grain when those instruments expired. And this is what led to us revisiting the contract specifications and see where we can improve.
Now, any key amendments that come to mind that you affected?
Most of the amendments were really aimed at improving the accessibility of stock at the grain storage facilities, among others. But of course, I can maybe highlight a few. The one we said we need to have a minimum outload tempo for all grain storage operators in the country. This was really just to ensure that if there's a JSE silo receipt holder who has opted to come and outload his stock, that there is a prescribed minimum period that he can actually receive his stock. Now, of course, there are always exceptions to the rules. We understand in some instances the grain facilities may be beyond the control of the grain facility to actually offer you within that prescribed period. So we have factored some of those conditions in as well.
Now, Wessel Lemmer from Agbiz Grain was in the studio earlier today. He mentioned that there are concerns regarding infrastructure development. Your opinion?
No doubt about that. You should recall that the grain facilities in the whole of South Africa have been built by the then South African government as for strategic reserves. During the apartheid era, you remember that the country had to have food security as a priority. And those infrastructures are a good more than 50 years old or so. And at the time, of course, even though the outload rates were maybe state of the art 50 years ago, by now it's already quite outdated. And I agree with Wessel in that regard.
Right. Now, there was general noise in the market about commodity future prices discovered and on the exchange and cash market price not converging. Do you think these amendments will address some of these concerns?
Yeah, I would think so. It's general knowledge that for a futures contract to be an effective hedging tool, there must be that price convergence between the futures and the physical spot market. Now, in this case, we believe that maybe there was lack of transparency, especially or visibility at grain facilities, whether it was real or perceived. And this is really what led to the divergence. And we believe the changes that we are making are going to make a huge improvement.
What is the effective date of these amendments?
As soon as the amendments are actually incorporated in what we call the detailed agricultural contract specifications document, We are looking at maybe end Jan, mid-Feb to implement this.
Anything else we can look out for from the JSE?
Yeah, sure. Our focus now going forward is really just to improve the market efficiency and bring back the market confidence. And so apart from the changes that we made, we have also commissioned an investigation into what actually happened during that period of March, April, at the end of the last marketing season, when there were bottlenecks and there were delays in outloading. And I'm pleased to say that that report is now ready, and we will be able to actually circulate and make that available to the market by end of this week.
Well, we hope to see you soon on Plaas TV. Thank you for joining us.
My pleasure. Thank you.
That is Dr. Raphael Karuaihe, Head of Commodities at the JSE.
JSE, let's connect.